Hello everyone, my name is V-Man, and today we are going to be ranking every single deep cut song in Splatoon 3. That includes all of their Splatfest songs, as well as their music featured in Alterna. This ranking will be based off of both how well they fit their purpose inside the game, as well as how enjoyable they are to listen to both inside and outside the game. This ranking will only be including full deep cut songs. Songs that are more so jingles such as their Splatfest Victory and Defeat songs, as well as collaborations such as Calamari Incantation 3 Mix will not be included in this list. So with that all being said, let's get started. The first song I'm going to be ranking is Anarchy Poisons. This is the song that plays in Splatsville Square during the first day of Splatfest. This song is actually 3 different songs, one for each idol, with Bird Mix being for Shiver, Snake Mix being for Fry, and Boar Mix being for Big Man. Now, I think all 3 versions of this song are at least decent. However, all 3 of them suffer from one critical flaw, and that is they're meant to be listened to together, and that means that each of them individually isn't as strong as a lot of the other songs made by Deep Cut. To start, I'm going to be talking about Bird Mix. And I do think Bird Mix is the best of the 3 versions. I really enjoyed the whistling in this song, and it's really catchy. It gives the song a nice rhythm and something to listen to aside from the vocals. However, like I said, the song just feels like it's missing something since it's only one version of Anarchy Poisons. So with those things put together, I think I'm going to put Bird Mix in B tier. As for Snake Mix, I don't think this version is quite as good, but it's still really good. The wind instruments definitely help mix with Fry's vocals and it keeps a rhythm going fairly well. I just don't think it works quite as well as the whistling and Shivers version. It's still good, but not quite as good. So I'm going to put this version lower in B tier. Now, as for Boar Mix, I personally think that this is the weakest version of Anarchy Poisons. It doesn't really have that one overarching thing that helps it stick together, especially since Big Man's vocals are a lot more subdued. Sure, there is the choir chanting in the background for a lot of the song, but it feels more ambient than the other 2. It definitely helps round out the trio, but as its own song, I can't rank it as high as the other 2. So with that, I'm going to be putting it on the higher end of C tier. Next up, we have Anarchy Rainbow, which is essentially the completed version of the Anarchy Poisons trio that plays during the second day of Splatfest in Splatsville Square. And complete is a good word for it, because it combines all the best aspects of the individual versions of Anarchy Poisons into one song that I could listen to on loop all day. It's especially great because it combines the 3 cultures that the idols represent, and it doesn't sound like they're clashing, it sounds like they're harmonizing. And all of those things put together make it an easy S tier track. Up next is Anarchy Rainbow Splatoween, and truth be told, this is a pretty difficult one for me to rank. On one hand, this is still Anarchy Rainbow, just a different version, so a lot of the good things that I said about the original still apply to this one. However, I can't help but feel like this version is just the original, but worse. The original Anarchy Rainbow is in minor key, but this version is actually in a harmonic minor key, which changes the 7th note of the musical scale slightly. And while that does make it seem better for Halloween, I don't think it really fits the song Anarchy Rainbow very well by itself. On top of there being some additional vocals that just seem kind of crammed in when they don't really belong, I don't think I could rank this nearly as high as the original. It is still Anarchy Rainbow, so I'm going to put it in B tier. I'm going to put it just above Snake Mix, but below Bird Mix. Last up for Anarchy Rainbow is Anarchy Rainbow FrostyFest. I actually really like this version. Sure, I don't think it's quite as good as the original Anarchy Rainbow, but it's honestly pretty difficult to compare the 2. Sure, both versions share the same vocals, but the instrumentation is almost entirely different, especially since most of it was replaced with more Christmassy instruments such as sleigh bells. Additionally, they did add more vocals to this version, but unlike the Splatoween version of Anarchy Rainbow, the vocals here were added to places where there previously weren't any. So instead of being crammed into busy parts of the song, they instead flush out more quiet parts of the song. On top of all that, this song does a really good job of giving me that Christmas spirit like it's meant to, and that alone is enough to put it in A tier. But even without that, I think the song definitely deserves its position up here. Moving on to the Turf War songs for Splatfest, we have Fins in the Air. In my opinion, this is one of the worst Splatfest Turf War songs from any of the 3 games. And that's because, while this song doesn't really have anything wrong with it, it doesn't have anything right about it either. For a Turf War song, you want one that's high energy to give you the motivation to defend your team in an all-out turf war, and this song does not have that. In addition, the melody for this song is really forgettable, especially compared to the other Splatfest songs in the same game. Again, the song is okay, but I can't justify putting it any higher than the lower end of C tier. Up next is Till Death Do Us Part, Deep Cut's second Splatfest song for Turf War, and this is probably my favorite song in the entire Splatoon series, full stop. And that's for a few reasons. For one, the energy in this song is very high, which is exactly what you want for a Turf War song during Splatfest. Shiver and Fry's vocals, especially their harmonization during the refrain portion of the song, really give it that sense of identity that a song like this needs. Combine that with the instrumentation emphasizing the more important notes of the vocals, along with the drumming keeping that rhythm going steady from beginning to end. It gives you a really energetic song that makes you want to go full send on the other team. And all of that put together makes it, in my opinion, the best song on this tier list. And I don't think it's going to be dethroned for the rest of the video. To round out our primary Turf War songs, we have Big Betrayal, which is a song that was added post-launch to Splatoon 3. And if I'm being honest, when this song was first announced, I did not care for it. I thought the siren sound at the beginning was irritating, I didn't care for the rap part, and I just thought the song was overall annoying. But the more I've listened to it, the more I've come around on it. For one, the song does have that high energy beginning, which, like I said, is exactly what you want for a Splatfest song, and that high energy is maintained even into the refrain portion before the loop, which I think has a nice bounce. On top of that, the song has the really cool lore function of being a response from the rest of Deep Cut for Big Man going off and collaborating with the Squid Sisters on Liquid Sunshine. Combine that with the fact that the first half of the song has a canon English translation, which is incredibly rare for Splatoon music, and I can't justify putting it any lower than A tier, despite what previous me would have said. Up next we have Now or Never by Deep Cut, which is obviously the song that plays during the last minute of a Turf War match in Splatfest, and this song is certainly a Now or Never. Now or Never, to me, in general, has always been just fine. It's never been anything too special to me musically speaking. This is one of the better versions of Now or Never, but that's not saying a lot. I don't think this song really competes quite as well with a lot of the other songs higher up on this list. Like I said, it's not bad, but I don't think it warrants any spot higher than the lower end of B tier. To round out the Splatfest music, we have Daybreaker Anthem, which is effectively Deep Cut's credit song. Like a lot of the other credit songs in the series, it's very slow, it's very melancholy, and it makes you reflect on all the good times you had with the game up to this point, especially with the motifs for other songs such as Anarchy Rainbow. Now this song is also pretty long, it's about 5.5 minutes, but the thing is, it keeps the emotion really high throughout the whole song to the point where it just kind of flies by, and that's exactly what a good credit song should do. But that's the thing, this isn't even a credit song. This actually plays after the Splatfest is over in the square and in the lobby. So
You could say, in a sense, it's like a finale for each Splatfest, kind of like how the credit song would be a finale for whatever game it is for. But no, it's just for any old Splatfest. And the fact that a song like this is like that, that's kind of beautiful in a way. And combine that with the fact that the song itself is really good, I'm going to have to put this song right into S tier. I don't think it's perfect. There are a few parts that I would change, but I do believe it stands toe-to-toe with Till Death Do Us Part in Anarchy Rainbow. Finally, moving on from Splatfest, we have Deep Cut's theme. This is the song that plays both when they first show up in Alterna and before their respective boss fights. And if I'm being honest, this song is not very good. It just kind of feels like a random mishmash of motifs that don't quite go together. Additionally, it's not a very memorable song other than the fact that it was in the trailer that revealed Deep Cut before the game came out. I mean, it is fine, it does its job okay, but ultimately, I don't think this is a song that's worth looking up outside of the game. So, I don't know if it deserves to be ranked this low, but I want to put something in D tier, and if anything belongs there, it's probably this song. In a similar vein, we have Surprise and Shine, which is Deep Cut's boss theme. And I don't know what it is about antagonist Deep Cut music, but it just does not hit quite as hard as the rest of their songs. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do okay. It does have that manic energy that you want to hear when you're fighting a group as crazy as Deep Cut, and the additional instruments as the song progresses and the boss fight progresses does help sell it a little more, but I don't think either of those things are enough to save the song. The song just kind of feels all over the place, and I don't think it's very memorable either. So, with that all being said, I'm going to have to put it in the bottom of C tier, unfortunately. Nearly to the end of our ranking, we have Hide and Sleek, which is the first of Deep Cut's songs that plays during the rocket infiltration sequence at the end of the Return of the Mammalians campaign. I really do like this song. It does a good job of selling that infiltration, sneaky, stealthy agent sort of vibe that they're going for in this part of the campaign, and beyond all else, it's just really fun to listen to. I don't think it's their greatest song by any means, but it's definitely one that I'll find myself both humming and listening to outside of the game. So with all that being said, I think I'm going to be putting it right at the bottom of A tier. To wrap things up, we have Smeared Canvas, which is the other song that Deep Cut sings during the rocket infiltration in the Return of the Mammalians campaign. This one, compared to Hide and Sleek, it's still pretty good, but it's just not quite as memorable. Sure, it does have a decent amount of energy, but the energy level never really changes throughout the song, and it definitely never really has that wow moment because of it, which is the kind of thing that this song in particular needs since it's at such a pivotal moment in the campaign. In fact, it's hard for me to even remember how the song goes without listening to it. Again, the song is alright, but because of all those downsides, I think I'm going to have to put it in about the middle of C tier, just above Fins in the Air. And with that, the tier list is complete. If you made it this far, I would really appreciate a like and a subscription. I am just starting out, so those would mean a lot to me. If you have anything that you want to comment, such as future video ideas, or even just your opinions on this tier list, I would love to see them. With all that said, this is V-Man, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.